May I request Dr. Sushant Rai B. May I also request Dr. Prakash B. Reddy, Deputy General Manager of Technical in VHPL. Dr. Reddy, please speak. Now, while this is an important event going on the side steps, while we were doing it, it has been, this activity has been lucky for us, and it's a happy news. I would like to share the happy news with you that Media Today Group, the organizers, have decided to go ahead with a memorandum of understanding with Russia's biggest livestock exhibition. Over there, it's only called Dairy Tech. Incidentally, it's also called Dairy Tech Russia. And the event director from there, Julia Markova, is here. And so it's a happy occasion that we will be signing an MOU to bring more Russian companies. That means it will open up new avenues for Indian poultry and meat industry, because Russia is a major importer as well as exporter of equipment required for livestock sector. So the event name over there is Dairy Tech, but they call it entire livestock sector exhibition in Russia. I also request Mr. M.B. Naqvi to kindly join Julia Markova, and this is going to be a 3-minute ceremony of MOU signing. So I request Mr. M.B. Naqvi and Madam, kindly sign your MOUs. So it's going to be a kind of historical meeting of Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association, that while you were here discussing various aspects and developmental issues with us about the poultry industry as a whole, this has the day has given a fillip to the Media Today Group, also in going international in exchanging this MOU. I request you to kindly exchange it. Okay, so I request a word of applause. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. M.B. Naqvi. Congratulations, Julia Markova, Event Director, Dairy Tech Russia. We wish that this partnership flourishes into bigger and bigger events, and it also gives more return to the Indian industry as a whole. Julia, I would like to point out that India started with a lot of, most of the technology was imported to India. I remember way back in about 1997 or 98, the event was organized by Dutch Embassy. It was in Delhi. So they were organizing poultry exhibition, and we saw very first time that poultry can be an automated business as well. So there was, of course, displays about, because Amsterdam is more into poultry rather than other things. But yes, now India is almost self-sufficient in terms of technology. We are a very major producer of meat in the world. Our own meat consumption is going up in terms of poultry. It's increasing every single year with increasing health awareness, with increasing per capita income of the nation. The consumption is going up, the production is going up, and in terms of technology, just yesterday we reached the moon as well. So that means you can look forward for everything related to livestock sector. India can be a good source, and we hope that next year we will be bringing a bigger delegation to the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Naqvi. Now, I think, so we begin with today's program. May I also request Dr. G. Devgowda, President of IBPI, to kindly come on this dais. I'm so sorry, sir, because I got a prompt and then suddenly I missed this. We will have Dr. Anjani Goswami, General Secretary of KPFBA, and then a panel discussion. So I'm asking only 3 gentlemen to be here so that you can see the presentations from here. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome all members of Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association. And this knowledge session, I'm sure, is going to help the farmers all across India, because we are trying to record it and will be sharing it on the various social media platforms as well. So please share your views when the discussion is going on. I'd like to welcome Dr. Sushant Rai B., President of Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association. Sir, we look forward to the knowledge, and everyone is excited to hear you about the development of poultry farmers and breeders and in general poultry industry of Karnataka. We will be having a presentation about visualizing future of poultry health, perception versus reality by Dr. Prakash B. Reddy, DGM Technical at VHPL. And it is one important thing that this session is going to include, because we know how pharmaceutical industry and technological advancement have really taken the growth rate of poultry chicks in general. I'm talking because I'm a poultry farmer in terms of more broiler farming, so I know the importance of the health of the poultry breeds. And we will have then remarks by Dr. G. Devgoda, President of IVPI. I think I would also like to welcome Dr. Anjani Goswami, General Secretary, KPFBA, who is in, and of course I would like to welcome our panelists. Dr. Anjana Goswami will be there, Dr. Rajesh Reddy will be there in the panel discussion, Ankita Parihar will be there, she is co-founder of Utpan, Mr. Pravan Gopal, CMO of Nandas Foods, and Mr. S. Mahesha My Chicken and more will be here. And of course, I would like to welcome Mr. Inayatullah Khan, Executive Secretary of Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association. So to begin with, I request Dr. Sushant Rai, President of Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association, to kindly come and give his opening remarks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and respected members of the poultry fraternity. It's my great pleasure that I stand before you today as we gather a mark of pivotal moment in this evolution of poultry sector. Our symposium serves as a platform of knowledge exchange, collaboration, and exploration of future projects within this dynamic field. In the heart of Karnataka, a remarkable transformation is underway. The poultry sector is rapidly ascending, solidifying its status as a leading force. The combined efforts of digital stakeholders and dedicated poultry producers channeled through Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association have propelled our region into the forefront of poultry product supply. Notably, this resurgence follows a period of challenges, demonstrating our industry's remarkable resilience. As we celebrate the achievements of the past year, we also recognize the opportunity that lie ahead. The burgeoning broiler and the layer farms are the testament to the expanding poultry production. Concurrently, the escalating demand for poultry products heralds a bright future for consumption trends. The foundation has been laid, and we find ourselves at the crossroads of value addition, process innovation, and branding excellence for our finished products. Today, we are honored to collaborate as a knowledge partner for the prestigious Indian Poultry and Livestock Expo 2023, a testament to the collective efforts of all involved. KPFBA Poultry Knowledge Session, spearheaded by our esteemed colleagues, shall illuminate critical aspects of our industry. Dr. Prakash B. Reddy, DGM Technical Services, Venkateshwara Hatcheries Private Limited, will cast light on visualizing the future of poultry health, perception versus reality. Joined by Professor Dr. G. Devegowda sir, a recognized authority in this domain. Dr. Anjan Goswami, the General Secretary of KPFBA, shall navigate the future trends in the Indian poultry sector with insights from the panel discussion featuring industry stalwarts like Mr. S. Rajesh Reddy, founder MD of SR Agro Farms, and Ms. Ankita Parihar, co-founder of Utpan. Our profound gratitude extends to Media Today Group, whose unwavering dedication brings us together for this annual Expo. The crossroads of networking and technological exchange they provide are indispensable for the growth of Indian poultry sector. As we embark on this symposium, let us engage in a different dialogue that transcends boundaries. Veterinarians, organizations, government entities have a unique opportunity to translate individual contribution into monumental impacts. Together, we pave the way for progress, innovation, and sustainable growth. In closing, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each member of KPFBA and participants of this program. I take this opportunity to express my sincere wishes to Media Today Group, especially Mr. M.B. Naqvi, for organizing the Indian Poultry and Livestock Expo 2023. May this symposium serve as a beacon guiding us towards the future of shared prosperity. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, gentlemen, as I can see a large number of people, and there are many senior people, and as a small farmer, myself only as a farmer, I think I would like rather Mr. Inayatullah Khan to conduct the seminar, because he knows all of you. So may I request Mr. Inayatullah Khan to kindly come and henceforth take this conference forward.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, today is 25th of August 2023, exactly 1 year back from now. 25th August 2022, we inaugurated our KPFBA KBFSU Poultry Diagnostic Center and Training Center. So it's this program coincidentally marks the 1 year celebration. So before I begin, I would like to. We have two parts in this symposium. The first one is the technical part. The second one is the industry, the future and current prospects of the poultry, Indian poultry. So in the technical part, we have Dr. Prakash B. Reddy, a PhD, a renowned veterinarian in our part of India. He's a gold medalist in both BVSC and MUSC, and also in PhD. So veterinary biologist with over 20 years of experience in vaccine research institutes and biological industry. His key emphasis is on vaccinology, focused on control of emerging and re-emerging diseases of poultry in India with a practical approach of lab to land programs. Established Vaccine Research and Development Center, VRDC, part of Veterinary Biologicals Pune, with most advanced infrastructure and supporting vaccine innovation. Created database for most of the poultry viral and bacterial pathogens prevalent in India. This has helped to identify the novel virus variant prevalent in India, like novel infectious bronchitis virus, GI24 lineage, nephropathogenic chicken astroviruses, re-emerging NDV genotypes, and various. So I request Dr. Prakash B. Reddy to come on the dais and enlighten all of us on the subject. Visualizing future of poultry health, perception versus reality.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, initially to start with, I would like to thank the media group, Media Today Group, as well as KPFBA for inviting me to share my whatever the experience I have with the poultry health. So I have chosen this particular topic, visualizing future of poultry health, perception and reality. So everybody knows what is happening. We will be in the perception that this is what is happening, but in reality it will be completely different. That is what I am going to highlight regarding the health aspects. When we talk about the visualizing future, the first question which comes about poultry industry is, what will be the future of poultry? The market condition in the last 1 year is really in a very turbulent phase. So what will be the future people will be talking about? But I would like to show you some of the slides related to that, how we can adapt ourselves based on this. So this is my first slide showing the world map. Everybody would be thinking. So this is general, whatever which is being shown. But this is our perception. Everything in the world is in the same status. What is happening in reality? This is the reality. We are about 8 billion population, and India represents India is number one country based on the population now. This is the population cartogram based on the population. You can see how India is getting highlighted. So this is a very beautiful figure for me to say that market is going to be in a good condition in the future also. They are predicting in another 50 years it will be almost double the population. Definitely consumption will be there. The food industry, definitely there will be in a huge demand. Okay, so definitely we can rely upon these particular thing for predicting the future. Okay, so then comes what is happening with the evolution. I'm showing this particular slide to show how the things are changing over a period of time, including the poultry. I'll take the example of humans, how they have evolved. Okay, so everybody would have read in the newspapers or in some of the books how the human evolution has taken place, right? From the monkeys to the man, and how further it is going ahead. What is the difference what major difference I would like to say is, you can see compared to the old earlier humans and the present humans, we are having more processed food. Earlier the small intestine used to be a bigger length. Now the small intestine length is getting reduced. The processing capacity is already we are eating a processed food. There is less fiber and we are eating this thing and it is getting out very fast. The small intestine length is getting reduced. Based on this, the absorption capacity is also getting reduced. Earlier, human beings were more brainy compared to us, it seems. Sometimes it will be a debatable thing, but that is the reality. Earlier humans, the brain capacity and the memory capacity was very high compared to what the present generation is. Right? So this is some of the examples and how the things are changing. This is one more example what I have shown in the graphical representation. The upper limb of human beings is getting reduced because we are using less for the walking or whatever it is. The lower limb is getting increased. This is how the change is happening. When it comes to the poultry, earlier it was more of a wild birds. Now a lot of domestication has happened, and now a lot of genetics is getting involved where the selection is happening based on the commercialization. We are selecting a good breeds in the sense with a better performance and which is going into the market. So in this present situation, there will be in the social media, a lot of things come up. Like the birds are growing more because of use of hormones or antibiotics. That's all wrong things. You can compare with the human evolution as well as the poultry evolution. You will come to know. A lot of genetics is involved. The good birds are getting selected with the good performance, the feed conversion efficiency or the health sustainability. This is what is happening. So there is a these things which is getting circulated in the market which we need to get aware. To add upon this, this is the particular slide where whatever the question I raised about the antibiotics and hormones, whether they are contributing or these are the things which are contributing for the better performance. Like the first is genetics, where we are selecting based on the eggs, body weight, viability and resistance for diseases. You can imagine, I can give you certain example because when it is coming to the commercial, in the GPs and the GGPs, a lot of selection is happening. The bird which sustains more, which is healthy, they are going to stay more longer. they are more resistance compared to whatever the short-lived birds. So that is one simple example. For that, the human correlation I can say, earlier people used to die in the very early age group with appendicitis. Nowadays, appendicitis things are very less, right? The appendix is becoming smaller and smaller because the people who had bigger appendix used to be susceptible for damage of this thing. They used to die early in the early stage. They never used to reproduce their children or whatever it is. So now if you take the present generation, the appendix cases have reduced. This is the best example I can say that how the genetic selections can happen. Okay. So other thing is nutrition. Lot of things are happening. Professor Devagada Saab is here and lot of nutrition, Pattabhi Ram Saab is here. You can see how much change has happened over a period of for several decades regarding the energy or protein or use of enzymes to reduce the cost. Low cost means it is not the reducing the energy or whatever it is. The enzymes making use of the energy and proteins. That is what is happening. A lot of things are come up. And then the husbandry practices. So many changes are happening from the multi-age group to single age group, especially in breeders. All those things are all some of the which has reduced the problems. And regarding the health and this thing I will cover in the next aspects. But people who are working on poultry will be thinking separately. Geneticists will think separately, nutritionists will think separately, husbandry will think separately, health aspect will be thinking separately. But when we combine together, this perception will become reality. What exactly is that is the reality? This is the reality. It is not only the genetics of the bird, the health aspect, the nutrition or the husbandry practices are very much important. We have to have a combined work to have a better performance. So then what we can expect in the future, definitely people are talking about FCR1. By 2050 maybe we can achieve this in the broilers. So, and definitely there are certain balances which will happen with this. That's a challenge we can keep. In layers, 100 weeks, 550 eggs, that is the target. That can be achievable. That can be achievable. Okay, so this is what the reality can happen in the future. Okay, so what is the changes happening to particular this thing, like in changes minimizing the risk of long-lived birds is like from deep litter it is getting into the cages, the disease load is getting reduced, bell drinkers to nipple drinkers. This is what has happened over a period of time. Multi-age to single age, open sets to easy sheds. These are all contributed to reduction of the problems and increase in the performance. This is one example, the slide showing you the graphical representation, where what is the importance of separating rearing and laying. You see, before when there was a multi-age group, there used to be a high respiratory problems, enteric problems, all these things. But when they separated it out into a single age groups, that is the brooding and growing separate, laying separate, the problem started reducing. This is the slide. I don't know whether the people at the last can appreciate this particular figures, but graphically it has been shown that it has drastically reduced the respiratory as well as enteric problems. And next, coming to how the future is getting predicted about the global meat consumption by 2040. Recently there was some publication which I want to highlight here is, in 2018 it was a 1,000 billion USD market. At that time, conventional meat was very high. It was almost 100%. But you can see this particular graphical representation where the things like cultured meat is going to increase in the future, as well as non-vegan meat replacements. It's not the non-vegetarian, but replacements of non-vegan is increasing. So right now it is very less. Right now it is very less because of the cost of production or whatever it is. This is what is the perception that in future this is going to be the future. That's what has been predicted by some of the studies which has been highlighted. This is some of the vegan meat which has been marketed in several countries. But in India, adaptation definitely it will take another 2 decades. Always we will be in the back seat, the adaptation. But we can expect that this can be introduced into Indian markets. Already some of the things are working, but the cost, because of cost, adaptation is less. So what is leading to these particular figures, whatever is this thing? There is a lot of disruptive technologies like cultured meat which is happening in several countries. Who is investing in this? You can see a lot of people involved in poultry like KFC, McDonald's, Tyson. They are investing on these particular things. This is what is happening. So even every year there is a cultured meat symposium happening. So they are discussing how to produce a efficacious meat or cheaper meat. All those things, discussions do happen. So it may be a reality, definitely. We have to rethink. This is going to be the reality. Okay. So why these particular thoughts are happening? Why cultured meat or the vegan replacements, whatever it is, why these things are coming into the picture? Because if you see here, this is the figure representing the feed utilization by different things like biofuel for human food. This is for the animal feed. Almost 46% of the feed is used for the animal. Okay, but we are thinking everything is clean, but we are using the most toxic or the rejected this thing into this particular market. So the other thing they are talking about is the conversion ratio. Whatever the feed, which is 46% of the feed which we are using, only 15% is getting converted into the meat. That is what is being projected, that we will have more feed if we utilize in the vegan or in the cultured meat. That is what people are talking. Like they can use approximately 72 to 75% of this particular protein into the production process. So these are all the thoughts which has led to this thing. But we have to rethink about this thing. But we have to see what exactly is getting into the animal feed. See, if you see, there are certain data done by different companies in the nutrition companies where they say majority of the feed which has been used in the animal feed is contaminated with mycotoxins, almost more than 95% if I am right. Okay, multitoxins, more than 70% of the feed which is available is contaminated with multitoxins. Definitely all these feed can have more impact on the immunity of the bird. That is what is happening. This is one of the data done by Professor Devagowda sir, where the concentration of different toxins, how it can reduce the immunity, that has been published. So this is how the things happen. But in our conditions in the poultry, what is happening? We are targeting only, what is that? The event. In poultry, whether we do for all the samples, for recognizing the proper specific disease? No. We are just relying upon the postmortem, which is a very crude method of identifying the disease. So we should have a proper surveillance program for all these things. Okay. The other thing is antibiotic, whether it is still needed. Yes, as a therapeutic, definitely yes. Not as a prophylactic, not as a preventive. We should use it as a therapeutic things whenever there is a disease challenge happening, with a proper withdrawal time, all these things, and a proper dosage, which is compromised in most of the animal industry. So the other things is definitely whether all these things are compromised, there will be a question. Definitely we are improving upon biosecurity, no doubt about that, but still diseases are still popping up. Why? Because we think that disinfections, spraying on the birds, or only the foot massage, all these things will take care. But where the diseases are entering and where we are spreading the disease, we have to concentrate on that. Okay, so all these things, over trusting on this thing is happening. So this is a slide where showing how all the diseases can be transmitted. I will not get into the details of this thing because of the time constraints. Okay, there are several ways, including the vaccination crew or some of the animals which can spread, or the disposal of litter or the dead birds, which can be a source of contaminations and infections. Last but not the least, the wild birds. There is no restriction. During winter, a lot of birds come from the north to the south. Okay, the cold countries to India, we cannot restrict. Definitely, we should have a proper surveillance to detect this. Okay, coming to the evolution of bacteria and virus. Now coming to the disease, some of the diseases I would like to highlight. Definitely, Darwin was talking about the evolution of the selection of the humans, how the things are getting selected, all these things. If he would have seen the viruses or the bacteria prevalent now, he would have been the most happiest person, right? With the COVID prevalent, lot of variants emerging out, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, all those things. So he would be happy to know all these things happening. Definitely, there is several things which are really rampantly changing. That is related to the RNA viruses. That is, there are certain viruses in poultry also or in the humans also. The RNA viruses are very tough to control because they vary a lot. I will give you some of the examples in this, like in poultry, infectious bronchitis virus, low pathogenic avian influenza or avian influenza, high pathogenic avian influenza, Newcastle disease virus and IBD. These are RNA viruses. They are the top 5 diseases in poultry. Related to that, they are having more changes. We'll talk some of the things on these viruses. So, to talk about infectious bronchitis virus, the first example I will give is COVID. Everybody has read in a lot of newspaper, WhatsApp or whatever, all are educated now regarding the viruses. But coming to the coronaviruses, we have infectious bronchitis in poultry, but the recent one is the COVID in human beings. You can see when it emerged in 2019 in China, it has spread widely around the world very fast, right? Within a span of some months, it was spread around the world. Okay, and you can see the lot of variants emerging in different countries. That's what I told. Alpha, beta, what all the variants? These are all the variants which has emerged out. Last, what is the variant which we heard about? Anybody? Last variant which we heard about in newspapers or in this thing, Omicron, right? That was the last in 2020. But if you see, after Omicron, there are several variants which has emerged in different countries. They are still prevalent, but they are not causing a major disease. This is how the variation happens. Maybe after 4 or 5 years, it may have a higher incidence or higher virulent virus may emerge out. We don't know. That is how the viruses behave, right? So, the other thing I would like to tell you with the COVID example is, higher the virulence, lower the spread. Lower the virulence, higher the spread. Everybody says that COVID was very virulent and it created damage or pandemic around the world and it created more damage. But according to me, it is the low virulent virus. It spread more. It has spread more globally. But high virulent virus is, one example is SARS, which emerged in 2002, MERS, which emerged in 2013. These are high virulent, but the spread was restricted to those things because the people who are affected used to die very fast within 2 to 3 days. The spread used to be less. But here, low virulent, with 10 days, 15 days, they will be spreading to all. That is how it happens. The best example which we can quote here is low pathogenic avian influenza, high pathogenic avian influenza. Low pathogenic avian influenza can spread. We are endemic in our country, but high pathogenic we are not endemic. Wherever there is a mortality, if you are discarding and controlling within that particular farm, you will not be spreading. If you don't want to control, if you want to spread to your neighbor, just dispose the birds. That is how you keep on spreading. So it is uncontrollable. This is the best examples I can give you. Regarding infectious bronchitis virus, earlier it used to be more of a respiratory problem, which was first identified in 1935. Later on, several changes has happened over a period of time, from respiratory to reproductive to nephropathogenic, then gastrointestinal. All these changes has happened with the changes with the serotype of this particular virus. You can imagine COVID, how it is changing. The same thing is happening with the poultry. Good thing that COVID, we didn't have live vaccine of COVID. Otherwise, your variant would have been more. But bad thing for us is we have more live vaccines for IB. MAS, 4/91, all these things. There can be recombinations, variants, you can spread a lot. This is what happens with poultry. A lot of variants can emerge out very fast. Okay, you can see these are all some of the slides where the clinical signs has been, or the postmortem lesions have been shown. Okay, so if you take the global map, how the variants have been prevalent in different country, there is MAS type. This is the green dot which is spread around the world, except Australia and New Zealand. They don't use this particular live vaccines. That's why they don't have that MAS types. But the other thing is the QX, which started in China and spread to the European and the Middle East. India, till today, we don't have the problem with that. We don't know when it emerges in India. But the third one I would like everybody to concentrate is the yellow dot, which is prevalent in every country around the world. Every country has local variants. They have their own local variants in their country. We have to really concentrate on those things. Especially if you see the 32 lineages in different countries, this is the strains which are prevalent in India. The Indian local strain is GI24. This is which is prevalent in India. Apart from that, we have 4/91 and the MAS type, which is circulating. It is more variants are emerging out because of the use of live vaccines. Okay, so this is how the things happen. If you want more information, you can definitely go into there is one YouTube presentation done by me on infectious bronchitis. I can definitely share with you people, so you can get more details about this ND or IB, these things. This is about influenza. It is more dangerous than the bronchitis virus. Why? Because it is a segmented RNA virus. They have 8 segments. If 2 different viruses are coming into the single bird, you can have 64 different types of viruses emerging out with the permutation combination. But all will not survive. Some of the strains like H5N1, H9N2. If both come in the single bird, you can see a new variant called H5N2. That is how the things can emerge out in influenza. That's why there is a influenza committee for humans also. They identify universal vaccine for each country every year. Annual review will happen. Every year they have to identify the strain for that country for the vaccine production or protection. So they have to update it. The government has accepted to give permission for low pathogenic avian influenza virus in India, but that has to be reviewed every year to know the changes which is happening. Okay, so definitely coming to the low pathogenic like H9N2, you can see this is the best figure which I can show you how many species are getting involved in contributing to this particular poultry virus of H9N2. Like the humans or the poultry or the other species of animals all have contributed for this particular virus. And this was the publication in 2016. Does it stop there? No, it can create variations in the future more also. Okay, so this is some of the about H9N2, how the variations or different genotypes are prevalent in different countries like India and Middle East. We have a different genotype that is GI lineage. Okay, so within India also, okay, there is lot of antigenic drift happening. Every year we are finding a change. Major changes can happen every 3 years. That is what we have found. The changes do keep happening. That is how we have seen in this particular phylogenetic tree, but need not worry too much. We are identifying those things. coming to the Newcastle disease, if you see, lot of genotypes are prevalent around the world. Okay, so what is challenge in India is genotype 30. Okay, but if you see the present situation, the genotype 7i, which was not there in India for several years, which had emerged in 2010, genotype 7i, now we are getting a lot of problems with genotype 7i in India also. So this is the genotypes which are challenging in India. This also, if you want more details about this, you can definitely go for the YouTube channel, which can give you more details about this particular virus. This was about the RNA viruses. But some of the minor changes can also, over a period of time, can create problems. Like the Marex, it is a DNA virus. If you see, since 1940s, it was a mild Marex. Now what we are getting is a very virulent Marex. Over a period of time, there is a lot of introduction of different strains of vaccines, different serotypes of vaccines, like HVT, SB1, Respines, or the combination. All these things are based on the introduction of different vaccine strains, the virulence has increased. We don't know in the future, we may get a different, very virulent plus Marex virus, which can emerge out. So this is what we need to have a track. Definitely the virulence is changing. So the virus, that is the way the virus will survive on its own, okay, by the changes. So you will be doing vaccines and protecting. There are some strains which is called vaccine escape mutants, which escapes the vaccinal immunity. That is what creates more problem in the future. This is about the fowl adenovirus, which is also currently a bigger challenge. Okay, this is one example of South Korea, how the changes, serotype changes can happen over a period of time. This is in different years, from 2007 to 2021. Different serotypes have been identified in that country. But if you see here, the serotype 4, that is the hydropericardium syndrome virus, which is prevalent in India, it was there for almost 6 years as a dominant. But in the last 5 years, they are getting serotype, fowl adenoserotype 8 in that particular country. What is the situation in India? Now, earlier, we used to get a lot of serotype 4, which was dominated like this. But currently, we are getting more of fowl adeno 11, which has dominated in the last couple of years. In the last 8 to 9 years, you can see serotype 11 is trying to dominate and create more problem. But we don't know in the future whether serotype 8 is also going to get dominated. Some sporadic cases of fowl adeno 8 is there, but in future we don't know. But that is how the things happen with the changes in the serotypes. Okay, so apart from that, I can say these are all the listed diseases of which are vertically transmitted, like reovirus, infectious anemia, adenovirus, astro, even encephalomyelitis, salmonella, mycoplasma, ORT. All these are vertically transmitted diseases. If we are not controlling these things in the breeders, commercial, definitely it will be a disaster. Any of these bacteria or viruses. See, almost 60% of the cases, the problems will be with vertically transmitted diseases. It will be a silent killer. It will be shedding without your notice, and it can be a performance impact will be more. Okay, I am not going in detail about each and every diseases, but these are all the major challenges which are happening. Okay, so is it really what I am thinking about, the right diagnosis? This is most of the veterinarians, this is a major question, challenge. Till we are dependent on the post-mortem, we have to get into the labs now to definitely identify what is the complicating factors. So, definitely there is a lot of perceptions with the veterinarians. They may be perfect in some certain things, but with the changes in the clinical science and the post-mortem lesions, we will go wrong. The bookish pictures have gone now. We are getting more complicated. Mycoplasma complicated with the vaccinal strains of ND, IB, or with the E. coli. So these complications can be more disastrous. So that is what we are getting. And in the field, like if there is nervous signs, we are directly targeting ND. Even some of the deficiencies can cause vitamin deficiencies. which we really have to get into. So all these things are there. I have just highlight that we don't go with the perceptions. Take the help of the labs or take the help of the other opinions has to be taken, and also reinvestigate with your whatever the vitamins or the minerals or other things which are related to that. Okay. So coming to the vaccines, when we talk about vaccines, the first vaccine which was introduced in poultry was fowl cholera by Louis Pasteur. This was the photo of his lab. It was a very crude method which was with the Bunsen burner. He used to make the lab with the autoclaves. He used to make a sterile broth and produce the vaccine out earlier. Okay, so that is how. But now lot of changes have happened. All the virus vaccines are being produced by the fertile eggs. Fertile eggs. This is the picture of the fertile eggs, and different viruses are grown in different age groups of the embryo. Okay, like Newcastle disease or infectious bronchitis virus, we have to inoculate on the 9th day into the allantoic fluid. Like that, different vaccine viruses have different routes of inoculation. Here I would like to highlight about some of the production processes. There is a lot of, with the demand of the vaccine increasing, there is a lot of demand for the SPF eggs, specified pathogen free eggs. So which is where you are not vaccinating the birds or you are giving the sterile feed, water, those facilities, we are producing these eggs. In the world it is around 140 million eggs are being produced. In India we are around 10%. Though we are number 3, we are producing around 14 million eggs for the vaccine production. And there is a lot of huge demand because of the increase in the volumes. And the second eggs which are being used is clean eggs. Okay, it may not be as good as SPF eggs, but definitely we can use this for killed vaccine production. Most of the clean eggs are being for killed vaccine. There is huge demand for this also for human vaccines, that is influenza vaccine production. So you can see for poultry as well as humans, we have to use the clean eggs for the vaccine production. Though we are lucky in poultry that we have this particular thing as a base because it is a homologous production. It is related to poultry. For human vaccine production, it will cost 60 rupees or 70 rupees for vaccine production because they have to go for a purification process. They have to purify the virus from these particular things. We need not do that. Okay. So this is some of the pictures showing how the progress is happening in the egg inoculations. Now more automation is being happening because we have to handle huge number of 40,000, 50,000 eggs per day. So that is the volumes we have to go for the automations and to maintain the sterility of the things. And we have all the facilities related to the WHO GMP standards. We have to, that is what the companies are working out now. Okay. So the other thing related to the vaccines is the technologies. A lot of vaccine technologies are popping up. Every now and then we are hearing immune complex vaccine or the attenuated vaccine or the reverse genetics type of vaccines. All these vaccines, genetic reassortment type of vaccines, all those things are being used in some of the things. Some of the things are used in humans as well as in poultry. And the main which is being used is the attenuated vaccine, that is the live vaccine. The other one is the inactivated vaccine. We are growing in such virus in such a condition where the virus virulence gets reduced. That is what some of the figure mimicking that has shown. The cheetah being a mild thing for the deer. Okay, so that is how these things do happen. And the other one is which is taking up in the influenza sector is the reassorted vaccine, where the high virulent virus genes are put into low virulent viruses to grow higher concentrations. That is how the technology is changing. But definitely viruses or bacteria doesn't care about your fancy technologies. For your information, I neither for my PhD or MBAs, neither for a good presentations. Fancy presentation doesn't care. The viruses can take its own turn. They can change accordingly. Okay, you need to track it in a proper way and give the solution. Okay, so how to develop a strong immunity? So this is the one particular slide I can show you where live vaccines can give a strong first line of defense. This is I am trying to show you based on the volleyball. Okay, in the volleyball, the front line people, they will try to prevent the ball getting into the court. That is where it prevents. The live vaccines can prevent at the respiratory or the gastrointestinal level. They can restrict, they can create a local immunity and they can restrict the virus to that particular thing. They cannot enter the body to cause damage. That is what we need to target with the live vaccines. That is in the initial stage. That is based on the mucosal immunity and the CMI response. Killed vaccines definitely can give you a stronger immune response systemically. When the virus enters into the system, your killed vaccines creating a higher antibody response can give a stronger immunity. See, this is what we need to, this is one of the video which can show you when you have a strong immunity, when the challenge virus, that is some cheetah attacking some of the herd, they can throw the virus out. They can chase the cheetah out. This is the best example I can show you how the strong immunity works, right? So we have to maintain this particular strong immunity within our birds, okay? But there are certain challenges in the early age group, that is the young chicks. Before the immunity is developed properly, you may get a proper maternal immunity from the parent to the chick, but early immunity definitely will be very weak. So something like this is the video, the cheetah attacking a herd, okay? Which is the target now? They will target the weak, that is the younger age group. Or if the younger age group is not there, they will try to attack the old age which is weak. They will attack that, right? So this is the video to show you better understand how the immunity works, right? This is how the challenge virus can attack in this thing. Okay? So the next thing is over trusting of vaccines. See, definitely people will be thinking, you vaccinate and I should get immunity. Is it possible? Not possible. You should have certain period of time to develop a good resistance, good immunity for vaccines, and also you have to reduce the challenge. Challenge virus has to be reduced. Okay, then only the immunity will be good. Okay, the other example I can give is Marex. You do on Marex vaccine on day old. If there is a challenge virus in the farm on second day or third day, do you expect the immunity to work? No, it cannot happen. So definitely the minimum 8 days is required for the vaccine to develop a proper immunity to resist the field virus. It is something like vaccinating our children, the babies, against measles, taking the baby to a slum area where measles is prevalent. Can we expect the vaccines to work? So that is what the challenges happen in the field. Okay? So this is some of the things about the different countries' vaccine schedule for the ND control programs. Okay? So definitely it is a complex. People think it is a short-lived immunity, short memory. That's why people repeat live vaccines. According to me, go for a proper live vaccines in the early stage, go for a proper booster with the killed vaccines. Even in the laying, you can get a better immunity. Don't unnecessarily trigger with the live vaccines, which will complicate in the laying stage. Okay? So this is about the herd immunity, where in the laying birds, we have to maintain a proper immunity titers in the laying stage to have a better protection. Okay? This is called herd immunity. The best example to correlate is the humans. Like there is one person which is affected. These are all the people who are vaccinated. The susceptible, you see, when such sort of people who are not properly covered with the vaccines, the spread will be very fast. If we are covered more with the vaccinated people, the spread will be less. The best example was COVID with India and other European countries where they were not vaccinating properly. They had more spread, or the third wave, fourth wave, all those things came up in the other countries. But in India, it was properly protected because of the proper vaccinations. The next is the challenges with the vaccine delivery. Definitely, vaccination is a stressful condition. Even when we were vaccinated with COVID, 2 to 3 days we were not able to lift our hand. We were having fever also, right? Everybody would have experienced in this hall. So Definitely, day old we are handling for vaccinations. It will be a stressful condition for the chicks also. Okay, and we have to cover large number of birds. That is also a big challenge. Proper vaccination of all the birds. So all these things, definitely some of the automations are coming up, like in vivo or the subcutaneous vaccination at the hatchery in the broilers to cover all those things. But definitely they have their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so something like errors in eye drop vaccinations. Some people are compromising by using some syringe needles or all those things. So these are all some, and by vaccinating eye drop 2 to 3 seconds, the drop should stay. If you are dropping and throwing it out, the vaccine can drain out. You will not get a proper immunity for that. Okay. So these are all some of the errors with the spray vaccinations. You can see the spray vaccination in this particular tray, how the vaccine is happening. What happens to the chicks which are on the other side? You will not get uniformity, right? This is one more spray vaccination being done. They are using the disinfectant gun. These are all the compromises which happen. Try to adapt, use that in a proper way. Okay. This is some of the errors which are happening with the subcutaneous vaccinations. Can a person handle 3 chicks in a hand and vaccinate subcutaneously? Practically not possible. So this is what happens in the field conditions. A lot of errors do happen. The chicks which are not getting the vaccines, definitely will, whenever there is an outbreak, will be more susceptible. And you see, number of birds handled, a lot of mistakes can happen, right? And even that can damage the blood vessel or the spinal cord, all those things happen. And the needle change is very important on all these cases. Okay, this is some of the vaccinations done in the hatchery. Okay, with the subcutaneous vaccinations where we can handle both live and killed on the day old. That is one of this thing. But here also there is a lot of mistakes do happen. Sometimes you can see this is too fast. This is okay. That is too slow. You have to cover large number of birds, at least 2,000 chicks at a time, within 1 hour. So in this process, you have to create expertise. Creating expertise is very important at the hatcheries. Okay. Otherwise, a lot of mistakes do happen. Okay. These are all some of the errors which can happen in the in vivo vaccine delivery. Okay. So you can see here, it has to be delivered into the amniotic cavity. But sometimes it will be deposited in the allantoic cavity, or they will be injecting into the bird, the chick or the embryo. So these are all some of the mistakes do happen. That particular time is very much important in this particular vaccinations. Okay. Apart from this Marex vaccine handling, there are certain protocols which has to be as preventive. Use antibiotics as treatment whenever it is needed. Okay. Whenever there is a challenge where it is required, use the antibiotics as a treatment in a proper dose, proper duration of period of time, and proper withdrawal time. All those things has to be maintained. So, thank you very much for the patience.
Thank you, Doctor. Take your seat, sir. To conclude these sessions, technical sessions part, I request Dr. Devegowda sir, Emeritus Professor, who is President of IVPI and a versatile personality in poultry sector, and he is otherwise known as Bhishma Pitamaha of veterinarians. I request Dr. Devegowda sir to convey his message after Prakash B. Reddy's presentation. And if any questions are there, you can directly ask, and both of them will be available on stage for another 10 minutes. You can ask. Sir.
Good. Just I take about 5-10 minutes because after this we have a very good speaker, Dr. Anjan Goswami, followed by panel discussion by expert members. We have from Nandus, Pawan, you are our Rajesh Reddy, Mahesh, so many expert panelists. So just I'll mention few words whatever Dr. Prakash Reddy spoke, such a wonderful presentation. He mentioned immunity, strong immunity, vaccination, to increase the resistance of the birds so that they won't get disease. We can minimize the disease. So we can minimize the usage of antibiotics. That is what he has emphasized in the birds and animals. Same analogy we can apply to the human beings also. For example, one of my son born in USA. I was in USA doing my PhD program. Now after birth of a baby, for the mother, what we give in India, what kind of food we give it in India? Some dal, rice Goswami, Anjan Goswami, dal, rice. Generally, I think most of you will agree. But there what's happened to my wife after birth of a baby, with a big plate, meat, bread, ice cream, different varieties of food with a big plate. Can we give in India meat immediately after birth of a baby? Ice cream, sweet, bread, such a nutritious, balanced food. Why? Balanced food, good nutrition, good immunity, we don't get disease, malnutrition reduces. That is what I am extremely happy today in this group. The many of the companies are producing wonderful chicken, clean, highly hygienic, and they are marketing both online as well as offline marketing. For example, Nando's, Dr. Pattabiram is right here. Our Rajesh Reddy, who has recently started, doing wonderful job. Similarly, VH Group. Similarly, if we go to Bangalore, Prakash Shetty, Arun Kumar Rai, Vincent Coutinho. In Bangalore, still there are many, many more. That is what is required. We want highly nutritious food so that we get good immunity and our children will grow well and our mothers, ladies, especially lactating mothers, pregnant mothers, all their health status is improved. So that is why if you look at consumption of chicken in the urban area, what we call tier 1 cities like Bangalore. Just I will give an example of Bangalore. How much chicken we consume in Bangalore? 20 kilograms of chicken per year per person. Our national average is 5 kilograms. Whereas in Bangalore we consume 20 kilograms. Whereas in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, if we go to the smaller towns, district, consumption is very less. 3 kilogram, 2 kilogram, 4 kilogram. Because availability, transportation, that is what we have to strengthen. In all tier 1 cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Bombay, Delhi, our consumption is extremely good. For example, Bangalore, consumption of eggs is 200 eggs per year per person, as against national average of 90 eggs. Right, Dr. Sushant Rai? That is what we have to improve our consumption in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. If I keep on talking, there is too much. I think with this I will stop. There is a wonderful panelist who will be speaking later on, followed by Dr. Anjan Goswami, Ankita Upton Company. I'm extremely happy for the organizers today, media today, and also our organizers, Dr. Sushant Rai, KPFBA, who organized Knowledge Day, and wonderful presentation by Dr. Prakash Reddy, and all the wonderful participants who are present here. All of you, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, all the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Devgowda. It's really Okay, is there any questions for Dr. Sushant Rai, for Dr. Prakash Reddy or Dr. Devgoda? Anybody wants to have a question, please ask. We have the mic as well. So, thank you so much, Dr. Devgoda, President of IVPI. Just to make this occasion as a small part of your memory, may I request Shri M.B. Naqvi to please present mementos to the honorable panelist. We'll be giving 3 mementos to the panelists on the dais, and of course then we are eagerly awaiting presentation by Dr. Anjana Goswami, General Secretary of KPFBA, and then while Dr. Anjana Goswami tells about future trends in Indian poultry sector, we'll be looking for another panel discussion joined by the experts. So may I request Mr. M.B. Naqvi to kindly give a memento to President Dr. Sushant Rai, Karnataka Poultry Farmers and Breeders Association. And I request Dr. Sushant Rai to be there, so that because you are the host, sir, so you will be making mementos to a memento for Dr. Prakash B. Reddy, DGM Technical VHPL. It's just an occasion for all of us to get together, and I also request Mr. Sushant Rai and Dr. Devgoda and Dr. Prashant Reddy to kindly join M.B. Naqvi in giving one more memento to Dr. G. Devgoda, President of IVPI. Sir, please give the second. So, yes, Mr. Khan, Inayatullah Khan.